I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but a couple days ago, CD Projekt Red, the makers of Cyberpunk 2077, were sued by Rosen Law Firm, among others, I think, in a class action lawsuit where they're claiming they defrauded investors because they knew their game was buggy and misled investors that it was fine, and their shares crashed and investors lost out. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with this or not, but the way that it is being described is that, according to the court filing, the game was virtually unplayable on the current gen Xbox or PlayStation systems due to an enormous number of bugs. That is like their actual legal argument that they're making for why they should get reimbursed, basically. And so if you want to know, like, so when you, important part of this is virtually. It's like, what is virtually unplayable? Like, you think about this like a legal sense. So virtually is nearly or almost. So they're saying this was almost unplayable on current generation Xbox or PlayStation systems. And so the real question here on who is going to win the lawsuit is like, really, in my opinion, it comes down to the judges or jury, depending on, I don't know this type of case, how it is decided, if it's just a judge or what. I actually don't know the legal stuff on that. I'm not a lawyer, but it really comes down to, in my mind, the age and understanding of video games for whoever is making the final decision. Because, in my opinion, from like a legal standpoint, virtually unplayable would not be what this game would be described as on PS4 or Xbox. Like, in my opinion, as someone who like understands games, and you know, any of you guys who are young, that to say this game was almost not playable on Xbox original, or not Xbox original, the last gen Xbox and PlayStation 4, that's a stretch. Because, like, realistically, legally, I would say the game was like not ideal. The game was in a bad state, or the game was like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, it was not nearly unplayable. The game is just garbage, basically. Plays bad. The game plays bad, but not virtually unplayable. Like, I personally don't think. I know other people disagree with that until they would say, well, I got soft locked on this main story mission, so therefore it's unplayable, on and on and on. But I feel like from a legal standpoint, I played this game for 150 hours. I have not had very many issues. The only issues are things that would not make it virtually unplayable. Things like cars not rendering in, people appearing out of nowhere. I have to wait like 15 seconds for things to load in sometimes before I can interact with them. That doesn't make it virtually unplayable to me, in my mind. And obviously, feel free to comment, and you by all means feel free to disagree with my opinion. That's totally okay. I'm just trying to say my opinion on this and give you some information on what's going on. But that stuff doesn't make it virtually unplayable. That stuff just makes it unpleasant. It's definitely not almost unplayable. Like, it's totally playable. It's just not good. Like, but the same could be said for a lot of games on PC, for example, for people who just have bad PCs. Like, it's not quite as extreme of an example, but like, if you have a game like Conan Exiles came out a long time ago, most horribly optimized garbage. I don't think they were beholden to shareholders, though, but as an example of something that was virtually unplayable, like on PC, if you had a low-end PC, I mean, you'd play it like 10 FPS, and it would just sometimes just completely stop playing, and you'd get hard hangs every 30 seconds for 10 seconds and things. And like, at that point, I would call it virtually unplayable, because it was like, I'm literally spending half of my time not playing because the game is hard locked. That's virtually unplayable in my mind. I mean, this game, it's playable. It's just not ideal. It's not pleasant, some of the things that are happening, but it's totally playable. It's not even like a question in my mind that it would be virtually unplayable. It's totally playable. It's just not ideal. It's just kind of like, frustrating sometimes and stuff like that, but it's definitely playable. And so then the next part I want to go on to here is that because of this, because of what's happened with, you guys know probably what's happened as far as the games had bad reception, especially online and stuff, that the share price of CD Projekt Red has fallen substantially from around $30 a share all the way down to $18. And if to give you a perspective, over the 5 years, They've been growing, and for the last pretty much this entire year, not this. Wait, this is even a 5-year graph? No, wait, what is happening here? That's not a 5-year graph. Is it? No, it's saying 2020. Well, pretty much for the second half of 2020, it was over $20, and so now it's down to the lowest it's been since March. And so then it begs the question for anybody who's actually into investing. I know maybe a lot of my viewers aren't, but anyone who's actually into investing or stock options or anything like that, would this be a good or bad time to get in? Should investors who are in still, should they buy, sell, or hold? It's tough to say because it really comes down to a few things. One is this the floor from the fallout of this bad news, or will it go a little bit lower? Like it'd probably be worth it to wait a few more days and see. But then you have to take the gamble of are they going to win or lose the lawsuit? And in my opinion, if the judge understood video games, I'd give it like a 100% chance that they will win the lawsuit, because legally the argument does not make any sense. So to go back to the legal argument, this is from the last one was from Benzinga, and this one's from AccessWire. So their legal arguments is that, one, Cyberpunk was virtually unplayable, again, virtually unplayable, on the current generation Xbox or PlayStation systems due to an enormous number of bugs, which I personally think legally that's just false. I just feel like that's not true personally. And then two, as a result, Sony would remove Cyberpunk from the PlayStation store, and Sony, Microsoft, and CD Projekt would be forced to offer full refunds for the game. I mean, that's true, but I still just feel like this argument here is just too harsh. It's just not true. Like this did happen, but I feel like this is overstated dramatically. Consequently, CD Projekt would suffer reputational and I actually don't know that word offhand, pecuniary harm. And as a result, defendant's statements about its business, operations, and prospects were materially false and misleading and or lacked a reasonable basis at all relevant times. And that last one's where we get to a gray area. I'm not entirely sure about that one because I'm not familiar with CD Projekt Red's statements to their shareholders and investors about business operations, prospects, and all that. So that one really comes down to the lawyers, and they all hash that out in front of judges and stuff. But I personally would feel that CD Projekt Red should win this case because it's just, I don't know, like the game was buggy, but the game was acceptable in my mind. I feel like the reception's overblown for how bad it was. It's like, it's a good game, it's just buggy and glitchy. And it's like, okay, that's but I don't know, people get, some people just totally bent out of shape of that, and that's fine, but I still would call it playable. And then also there are arguments I've seen in other things that Sony's stock fell because of this, and I don't really understand that argument because Sony was just, it's still like just at all-time highs basically. I mean, it came down a little bit, but nothing crazy. So Sony's unaffected. Someone else said Microsoft was affected. I'm not seeing that. I don't think that's in the main legal arguments though, or anything like that. But CD Projekt Red did obviously go into the tank. But if it was up to me, I mean, it's hard to know. If it was up to me, I'd be so tempted if I could buy. I mean, if I had money for it and I could buy stock options, just like a few, saying that it will go up. I might wait a few days to see where it goes. Like if they lose the lawsuit, then hell can freeze over, or whatever the expression is. Like it could get worse. But at a certain point, unless they actually are going to go bankrupt because of this, which maybe, it depends how much they would, if they lost, what would the settlement be? You know what I mean? But probably not. I mean, they made so much money from the game, unless some judge is going to make them give away all the money they made from the game and some, unless that's going to happen. No way they could go bankrupt probably. So at some point they're going to rebound. So it's like, it's just about finding the floor is the main thing. The other problem is it's hard to buy into over-the-counter markets if you live in the United States especially, because they're in Poland, so it's like there's really no way to invest them. But like, I don't know, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that they will win the lawsuit? Do you think that what's the one? Rosen Law Firm is going to win? Do you think that What do you think about investing in them? People who invest. Well, like even if you're not an investor, feel free to comment about your opinion on what you think the future of CD Projekt Red is. Do you think their share price will just keep crashing? Do you think that this is all overblown and that at some point it'll turn around for them and then this will come back up to like 25 or something? You know, 'cause I mean, my other thought on this is, I mean, I don't know the specifics, but my understanding of this is that they sold a boatload of copies, and they sit there and like, oh, well, they had to offer refunds. I would want to bet that they refunded less than 10% of their games. There's no way they refunded like half of all their sales or something insane like that. It was probably less than 10. It was probably like 2% or something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was, but I strongly doubt it was a sizable amount that they actually had to refund. So then you sit there and you're like, okay, they sold double-digit millions of copies, I'm pretty sure. I don't know the exact number, but I just know they sold a lot at like, $60 for most of them. So if they win the lawsuit and this share price is here, at the end of the day, from a company standpoint, their assets are way higher now than they were before release. So it's like, if they get out alive with this lawsuit and they win the lawsuit and they don't have to pay anything, they come out the other side with all those sales of Cyberpunk 2077, but no one to have to pay up to, basically, for their shares crashing. And then I don't know, I don't see any reason it wouldn't go back up. I mean, it might be a slow steady grind, like this grind over here or something, or it might spike back up, but I just see at some point it hits the bottom, and if they win the lawsuit, they have so many more assets now than they did before. And they have a plan for the future for the game. I mean, I've heard they want to take it, like GTA 5 Online. They want to take it that kind of way. So it's like they have a plan for making the game into an even more in-depth game. They've already made all their money. So it really just comes down to the lawsuit. It really just comes down to this lawsuit. And if they win that lawsuit, then I don't see any reason it wouldn't come back up. So again, I just want to, if you guys have any opinions on this, one way or the other, if you disagreed with something I said, or you agree with something I said, feel free to comment and discuss your thoughts on any of this. I just think it's really interesting to see all this unfold, and I'm really curious to know who wins this lawsuit in the future. But yeah, feel free to comment and tell us what you think about this thing, about investing in it, about investors, about the lawsuit, who should win, why they should win, who should lose, why they should lose, on and on and on. But yeah, so now you know what's going on with the lawsuit against CD Projekt Red, December 2020, about them defrauding investors.
If this video helped you, consider helping us by subscribing to our channel. Tap this button over here and hit the red subscribe button. Subscriptions help a lot, even if you never watch our videos again. Ha 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 ha!